Hey, good morning, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Joe Boo, as well as Joe Bear in the house. And as always, I want to thank you guys for watching, commenting, subscribing, and keeping your ass at home because without you guys, this literally does not work. So let's get open for business here and let's wake up the football gods. Wake up this morning, guys. Wake up. Here we are. It is Monday morning. It is a new week full of new challenges for all of us. So we have to adapt, adjust, and overcome. We got to keep our ass at home. We got to keep the faith because we will get through this thing. It sucks that this has interrupted our lives and things. You know, we'd much rather be able to watch some basketball or go out and hang out with our friends and have a barbecue. And, we'd rather be able to do all those things. But one thing I've learned in my life is a lot of times something at the time will seem awful, will seem the worst thing in the world. It's like, woe is me, why could this happen? But down the road, I realized it happened for a reason, and it changed me for the better. When I got burned, I was in working in an apartment. We were renovating them, and they had these old stoves that the ball cock you had to reach up underneath them and turn it off. And I thought I'd had it all the way off, and it wasn't completely off. The pilot light was still on, and we're stripping the cabinets, with the oil-based stripper. And for fire, you got to have one. You got to have three elements. If you don't have one of them, you can't have a fire. You got to have heat. You got to have fuel. And you got to have oxygen. And that oxygen has to be mixed just right with the fuel. And we're stripping away, and I'll never forget it because the roar, that whoo, that happens. You'll never forget that sound. And I remember the smoke from being here up and it being clear below. But because I was using gloves and, you know, stripper and stuff, my wrist got burned in here, my fingertips got burned, and my pants leg burned like a candle whip. So I got burned on one leg from the knee down, third degree burns, and had skin grafting. Not to go into the whole thing and all that, but while I was in the hospital and having skin graft surgery, it taught me, as bad as I felt and sorry as I felt for myself being there, being burned, and having a scarred up leg, meeting somebody who was next door who was burned 90% of his body made me realize to count my blessings and to realize how lucky I was. And it changed my perspective on life. You guys know when I do fireside chat, a lot of times I'll tell you, make sure you tell people around you how you feel because you may not get a second chance. And in life, you have to take the good with the bad because all of those things make you the person that you are. So yesterday, because it's, there's not a lot was going on in the NFL yesterday, and there's not a lot going on as far as anything else, and you want to keep busy. As we go through this time, it's a great thing. You just don't know how great a thing YouTube is. To be able to communicate with others just like we do and doing live streams, it's a great way to take a deep breath, be around some other people, break up the monotony, and bring something different other than the news. So I thought I would do a live stream doing some of the Cowboy games. And so I brought through the Dallas Cowboys versus the Eagles game. And on the onslaught of the Eagles, people come through. You can't talk about that game. And they act like it does not exist. And so here's what you have to do. People make mistakes. People fail. And that's not the real crime. the real crime or the real tragedy is not learning from the mistakes and things. You can't just look at only the good stuff that's there. You have to look at everything in totality because those mistakes will teach you a lot more than the successes. And I plan on going through and showing that other game. And as I was going through yesterday and watching some of the second game, where the Eagles, the only game to them in their mind that matters, the only game that we've ever played in the mind of Eagle fans is that second game. But they really need to go back through and analyze what went wrong in the other game. Now I'm going to do another one of that game to satisfy you Eagle fans, so you can go in there and pound your chest about how you kicked the Cowboys' ass. You won the game. But I got to tell you, from looking at that first game, I didn't really learn that much because the Cowboys were clicking on all cylinders. I mean, the offensive line was opening up holes. Zeke Elliott was running in there and not saying, I need a break. Dak Prescott was hitting receivers in stride and where they were supposed to be. I didn't learn that much about the Dallas Cowboys. But what you learned about was watching the Eagles and where they had failings, where the pressure that will get to Carson Wentz. If you put enough pressure on him, he has a tendency to not take care of the football and will turn it over. You learn on ways of attacking their defense. Now, we'll go back through and we'll look at the other game, and I can already tell you right now, I can look at that first game and see where the Cowboys came out and did play action. Play action is it's like bonus money. It's like you take a test and the teacher says, well, here, we'll give you 10% extra credit for the test. When you do play action, it holds linebackers. It freezes them. They make them think that it's going to be a run when it ends up being something maybe outside or a pass play. It freezes and gives you just that little instant. And watching that game, I can see, Cowboys did a lot of play action there. And it fooled the Eagles a lot. As I started watching the other game, Cowboys didn't run play action. And they kept launching the ball downfield. And when the Cowboys had a chance to get back in the game, when they started doing things right, you start seeing things like Zeke Elliott on 2nd and 1 coming out. I need a bro. You see Tony Pollard in there get stuffed on the first one. Instead of Zeke Elliott, your bellwether back, for some reason, he's still on the sidelines. Tony Pollard fumbles, and you lose the ball, an opportunity to even kick a field goal. I look at players in that game, and I'm going to go through and we're going to watch it together because, see, this is one of those things. You use it as a learning tool. I'm watching guys that seem like they're taking banana roots into pursuit angles. I see it where one guy is tackling and everybody else is standing around. First game I look at this, I see 11 hats on bodies. So you've got to understand that you have to take the good with the bad. And if you don't do that, you're going to continuously do the same thing. It's what we did with Jason Garrett. Every year, at the end of the year, don't worry, guys, we'll get him next year. We would continue to just focus on the good things and continue to do the same things, never learning from the mistakes that we already made. And I think finally, thanks to you Eagles, finally putting the last nail in the coffin of Jason Garrett's era. Because I truly believe if the Cowboys won that game and made the playoffs, we would still have Jason Garrett here with the Dallas Cowboys, and we would be thinking, well, we're really close. We made the playoffs 3 out of 4 years with Jason Garrett. If we just get a piece here and a piece there, and the status quo would follow. But in the end, it was a good thing that we lost that. Now, you could say, oh, you're just full of crap. You want to win. Of course I want to win. Of course, I want to win for the immediate gratification of being able to tell the Eagles that you suck and you lost to the Cowboys 2 times again. Of course, I do. But sometimes that short term glory ends up being a fail down the road. I'm hoping that we look back at that this season as the season that we changed, because history has a tendency to repeat itself. As great as Tom Landry was, the innovator, the guy that brought so many things that are still being used into the NFL, by the 80s, mid 80s, everybody had caught up to him and passed him by. And it took years of thinking, well, this guy's great. We're so close. We're so close. We're so close that we had to hit rock bottom in 89 and literally start all over with Jerry Jones in order to change the narrative. And you have to look at that time. As hard as it was to say goodbye to Tom Landry, it was what was needed. So you can take that however you want. But this situation here is ugly that we're dealing with right now. But there will be positives that will come out of this. There'll be changes that'll come through. In some regard, it's almost giving the earth a chance to kind of heal. I'm kind of a nerd, and for some reason, I love Lake Mead. And since Lake Mead was down to like 1,075 feet, and they had to lower the impellers so that way they continued to generate generate electricity. When they talked about by the year 2022 that the lake would be completely dried out, I go to that Lake Mead water level almost on a daily basis just to see what it's doing. And it goes through a cycle where, like this time of year till about now, it starts filling up, and then it just starts gradually going down, and then it'll start going back up. Well, over the last couple of years, they've been doing, water management things, and we had a lot of rain and snow melt that was in California that's helped. And it did what it normally does, this year, and they were hoping by New Year's that it would get to 1,090 feet. Because that's the point where they start putting the restrictions in. It's been filling up, but they're saying if by the 1st of January it's not to 1,090 feet of elevation, that's sea level, not how deep the water is, that they would end up having to put on more restrictions. And right around New Year's, it got up to like 1091. And it gradually grew, raised up and got up to 1095 and started making its curve down where it's going to start losing water throughout the spring and the summer and start picking back up. But the amazing thing is this. Since the virus about 3 weeks ago started becoming big news, after it already made its curve down, it's gone straight up almost. It is literally in 3 weeks gained like 3 feet. 3 feet of water on Lake Mead is a lot of damn water. In India, this strange looking animal that they thought was extinct was last seen in 1990 is seen walking in the streets. My daughter got out early to go to Trader Joe's. Thank goodness she found everything she needed and got her ass back home. Was taking pictures of the California sky. And it's clear blue, no smog. Maybe this is an opportunity, or maybe things will evolve from this that end up being better for all of us down the road. We'll have to wait and see. But anyway, that's all I got to say for now. I'm going to be doing some work here at the man cave. Got shot glass racks to build for Gerald, and got orders for shot glasses that we're going to get packed up. So we're going to try and keep busy. We'll bring you any news, of course, on the Dallas Cowboys. We'll probably do a live stream during the day. And, of course, tonight, 9 o'clock Eastern, we do our regular live stream. So Stay close. Subscribe to the channel. Spread it around to people and things if you like what we do. And we'll get through this together. I'll see you soon.